and applies it to all aspects of life. I think you'll really enjoy it. I used to like you until. Kat Timpf, thank you so much for being on the Will Cain Show.
You. Great seeing you.
You too. All right, go check out that book. I think that's a rarity, meaning there's a level of authenticity, of willingness to see not just yourself as an individual. Everybody wants to see themselves as individuals, but to see other people as individuals. You see what I'm saying? Like constantly, as a habit, as a practice, walking through the world, seeing other people as individuals. Ryan Hanchett says on YouTube, seriously, Kat, video games are a no-go. A dude can't escape a fantasy battlefield, but to watch videos of someone mowing the grass because you fantasize about having a yard is perfectly okay? I think actually, yes, Ryan. I mean, look, I'm a video game defender. I want to be there for the militia, but can't we, like, as an individual, step inside for a moment, the mind of a woman? Just see yourself through the eyes for a moment. Not what you want it to be and how you feel defensive, but through the eyes of a woman. And Simply Me 12 says, well, if they're playing video games, at least they aren't cheating on their wives. Sounds like someone needs a hobby of their own. Some men, on the other hand, get mad if a woman is reading a book. There's always a silver lining. If you're playing video games, you aren't catting around on the town. Let's get into this. And whether or not, as it turns out, you can get fired and not rehired because you have a bad personality or you're bad at your job. And it's not just because you're black. That's coming up on the Will Cain Show. Fellas, look, your love life is important, but your schedule is busy. You don't have time to go to a doctor's office to get treatment for ED. Through HIMS, though, you can get a personalized ED treatment without stepping foot outside your door. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Now, that speaks to me. Ease, a few clicks. HIMS provides, with that, access to a bunch of doctors trusted for ED treatments. That'll give you stuff like chewable mints, proven treatments like Viagra or Cialis, or generics, 95% cheaper. It's a simple process. It's 100% online. No doctor's visit. Just answer a few questions on their site, and a provider will determine the right treatment. If prescribed, the medication then ships directly for free. No insurance. None needed. You just pay one low price for your treatments, online visits, ongoing shipments, and provider messaging. HIMS has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, so if ED is getting you down, it's time for you to find the option that works for you. Get you up. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Will Cain. That's where we'll both go to learn more about always being ready for that call to action. That's HIMS.com/Will Cain for your personalized ED treatment options. HIMS.com/WILLCAIN. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Prices vary based on product and subscription plan. The saga of Brian Flores and the saga of men who play video games. It is the Will Cain Show, streaming live at foxnews.com, on the Fox News YouTube channel and the Fox News Facebook page. Hit subscribe, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Jump into the comments. Join the community here on the Will Cain Show. Like Jessica Barnard on YouTube says, golfing gives me way more ick than video games. Okay, Jessica, I'm not even a golfer, but now we're having trouble. Like that's a step too far. Get her out. Yeah, I hear you, young establishment James. Get her out. Van Landry says, when it comes to all the landscaping and cutting grass talk, I thought I wanted that. 20 years after living in New England with leaves, grass, and snow, I now want low maintenance. I want a condo. All right. Willisha in New York City, you have 60 seconds. You have 60 seconds on the clock. You have elected as your leader, Two-A-Days Dan, to make your argument to the jury listening right now across this country on YouTube, Facebook, and on terrestrial radio. You have 60 seconds to defend video games. Go.
So video games are escapism a little bit. There's nothing wrong with them. They're all diverse. As long as you're, interacting in life still.
What are we doing? Did we just go onto the stage of the DNC? Just throwing a word out there? They're all diverse?
Yeah.
Okay. Ding.
Yeah, exactly.
Point for the mock jury.
Yep, exactly. But there's nothing wrong with having a hobby like that. I mean, as long as it doesn't take up all your time and that's all you do, it's fine. the ladies love to watch their Bachelor and Bachelorette and binge watch those shows. So it's not all that much different, but we're actually using our, hand-eye coordination and doing these things. And we are basically athletes. If you want to put it that way, we're basically athletes doing this.
Oh, I like it.
So it's that much different than binge watching a television show, but we're doing a little bit more than that. So I think it's not that bad, and I think ladies should, lay off us just a little bit.
Quick cross-examination. If you're working on your hand-eye coordination through your Xbox paddle and you're basically an athlete, if you're playing Call of Duty, are you basically a Navy SEAL?
I wouldn't say that. I'm not using stolen valor here, but I'm saying that, you work on your eyesight, you work on your, I don't know how I'm defending this one. This is a tough one, but yeah.
Some of my buddies at breakfast this morning were giving me a hard time. They said, Cain Show is posting a whole lot of homoerotic photos on his Instagram feed from his SEAL swim in New York City. And then they said, he definitely thinks he's an honorary Navy SEAL. Yeah. What do you got, Patrick? I see you raising your hand. Wait, by the way, before he goes, any odds on whether or not Patrick remembers what he wanted to say? It was literally 15 seconds ago he raised his hand. He wanted to say something.
50-50.
Let's just see. 50-50 odds. Does he remember? Go tinfoil.
Okay, I had it, and now, no. I was going to remember. So the Army's literally, and the Air Force, are literally hiring people as drone pilots based off of video game play. Video games are that important.
Oh,
it's become, it is valor. It's becoming valor.
Yep. Pilot simulation.
All right. I was nervous for you, Patrick. I was nervous. Sometimes you're like a lawnmower that's 20 years old and hadn't been greased up. I'm yanking the chain. It's like it gets started, maybe, but it takes a few pulls on the chain. And there at the beginning, I was like, here we go again. This lawnmower's not firing up today. Guess we're not cutting the grass. But you got it out. You got it out. Yeah. You got it out, and you basically said that everybody on video games is now an American hero. You guys let us know. By the way, we have a ranking. I think we have a ranking of the least attractive hobbies for men. We're going to get to that in just a moment, but I want to take a diversion here into Brian Flores. For anyone that's not a sports fan, or anyone that is, you could have forgotten, Brian Flores is the current defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, but he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins during some very rough years, and years when they got to select former Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa as their first-round draft pick, and he wasn't good. Tua under Brian Flores. Now, why was that? Well, Tua Tagovailoa went on the Dan Le Batard show and explained his relationship with Flores. Listen to this.
If you woke up every morning and I told you you suck at what you did, that you don't belong doing what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right, and then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. Like, you are accurate, you are the best whatever, you are this, you are that. Like, how would it make you feel listening to one or the other? You see what I'm saying? And then you hear it, regardless of what it is, the good or the bad. And you hear it more and more. You start to actually believe that.
So that led to a little bit of a mini debate in sports media about, what is hard coaching versus not abusive, but self-defeating coaching. And I think that is an actually interesting conversation. I do. I mean, I don't think that you have to treat athletes, specifically pro athletes, with kid gloves. But there's an interesting clip going around about Nick Saban, known as one of the harder coaches out there when he was at the University of Alabama, saying he never treated his quarterback like he treated the rest of the team. I don't know if that's true from Saban, but he says he didn't treat the quarterback the same as the rest of the team because everyone knows the role of confidence. It's real. Confidence is like the ultimate performance-enhancing drug. For this job, and certainly for your job, and certainly for athletics. I don't know about different sports, like the role confidence plays in degrees, but since my sons are so into soccer, and for that matter, also a place kicker, I think it is gigantic in those two jobs. Probably golf as well, but like in soccer, confidence is literally a performance-enhancing drug. You will play markedly. I'm going to say 30% is a swing, and it could be more than that. if you believe in yourself and you think everybody else believes in you, you will play 30% better than if you feel like nobody believes in you and your coach thinks you stink. I haven't thought about quarterback, but my guess is that Tua's on to something here. And if somebody is telling you every single day that you stink, you don't belong, and you're bad at your job, you will begin to believe that. You will. And then you will literally be what you believe. You will be worse at that job. But that's not actually the part of the debate that stuck out to me. Because everyone on ESPN is kind of having this conversation about hard coaching versus confidence building. What stuck out to me is the same people on ESPN. And I just want to say, I'll ask the Willisha, because I don't want to be the guy that's always like, oh, well, I've been involved in all these race debates, so it's something that I noticed. But if you notice, I'm not mining here. This is not needle in the haystack stuff. Brian Flores sued the NFL for racial discrimination because he has not been rehired as a head coach in the NFL. And when he was fired, the conversation was, well, the Dolphins were literally tanking and they put him in a position to lose, and that set him up to fail, and they wouldn't have done that to a white coach, and they would have had more time. And then he's not rehired. And it's like, well, it's because he's a black coach. And my point is, my point in all this is, it's a little bit like our conversation with Kat Timpf about seeing people as individuals. You want another example? I'll give you another example to show you how this happens over and over. Eric Bieniemy, for a long time, was the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. And a lot of offensive coordinators under Patrick Mahomes, or over Patrick Mahomes, got head coaching jobs. Matt Nagy, who else? There's like 3 of them have gone on to get head coaching jobs. And everybody's like, well, if all of those white coaches get jobs, but Eric Bieniemy doesn't, then it's once again the NFL is racist. And my constant rebuttal would be, and was, and still is, what do you know about these people as individuals, right? If you walk through the world thinking everybody hates you because you're black or white or Mexican, whatever, you have given yourself a hall pass on your individual characteristics that might be impacting how other people see you. Maybe not everyone around you is racist. Maybe you're the bad roommate. Maybe it's your personality. And we have to know these things before we indict everyone. And when I say everyone, if you're suing the league, you're suing 32 owners. So you're saying 32 owners don't like black head coaches. Instead of your reputation, your personal abilities, your personality have become well known. And people don't want that. And I wouldn't want that. The ultimate asset in the NFL is a first-round drafted quarterback. It sets your franchise up for 10 years or sets it back for 5 years. It just is death or life. And I'm going to put that in the hands of a man who is going to berate him? No way, man. And so my whole point of this is, I don't see that conversation in sports right now. Literally a year to 2 years ago, everyone today that is talking about how bad of a coach Brian Flores is, and that's what they're all saying. Like ESPN analysts are not defending this as hard coaching. They're saying this is bad coaching. Literally a year or two ago, we're saying, oh, well, Brian Flores is not getting jobs because he's black. And I don't hear any accountability for that nonsense, which I would say is toxic, cancerous, and divisive nonsense today. I hear no accountability for calling everyone racist. Now, my question to you guys, who am I today? Am I the guy forcing race into the conversation, or am I the guy with a memory? Which one am I today?
I don't think you are at all, because the perfect example of this is Angel Hernandez sued MLB for racial discrimination, but it's a lot easier to objectively judge an umpire because they have scorecards. We don't know what goes on in those coaching locker rooms, but now that we do, it's seen, and it's a big story, and the Flores name is out there and memorable.
Yeah, and I think there's a need to bring it in. You're not just bringing race into it. I mean, when things like this come up, that is bad coaching. That type of what Tua just said is an awful thing. So it should be brought up.
And I guess what I'm upset about is what I would call drive-by race baiting or drive-by accusations of racism. Mm-hmm. We do this. It consumes our cycle, whatever it may be. Look, you think anybody's ever gone back and said, what are the facts on Bubba Wallace in the garage? Like, we know the facts, by the way, because we've seen there was it even an FBI report? I think the FBI was called in to investigate that. there's never an accountability.